Today is a second part on lips. I just thought about it actually a few minutes ago, and I wanted to sort of clarify a couple things in my mind that I've been thinking about that I really haven't articulated before. What we're going to talk about today is vertical versus horizontal dimensions of lips. The thing that when you look at a lot of before and afters when you're on websites, you see a lot of vertical show, which means the red portion of the lip goes from this to this. Now, is that always a bad thing? No. In fact, sometimes I create a little vertical height, it looks good. But the goal is to say, that is not how I want you to interpret my before and afters. The biggest thing, the biggest difference I would say in the work that I do versus a lot of things that I see on the website is other websites is that vertical show to me is not that important. It's actually anterior-posterior or horizontal changes. It doesn't mean a lip sticking out or hanging out or anything. It's a very subtle change. But that little subtle change of the AP dimension is not really caught in a photograph directly. I'm going to tell you how to read some of my before and afters and also read when my patients come through and you see them, they look better. And here's how it is. Most lips, when they're small, they don't have much vertical height. Now, if you increase a little vertical height, it looks good. But what's interesting, what's important is creating a round effect, what I call a pouty look. So actually increasing the anterior-posterior dimension of the lip is as important as the vertical height, if not more important to it. So I like to think about reshaping a lip. Now, you've heard me talk about balance, you've heard me talk about lip shape, I talked about yesterday about age-appropriate lips. So we're not going to go over all those details again. Those are going to take 10 minutes each to go through. But what I want to talk to you more specifically about today is actual dimensionality of the lip, the rounding effect of the lip. If there's a lip that's very flat looking, in my opinion, it looks unattractive. It's not necessarily that on a photograph, on a horizontal or a two-dimensional photograph that you see a lot of vertical height. You say, "Oh my goodness, that looks good." Well, that's how you show it off on a website. What I want you to look at is the rounding effect of the lip or the pouty quality of the lip. To me, that's much more attractive. As you know, in my other videos, I talk a lot about the importance of the bottom lip for many reasons. I'm not going to enumerate all of them, but one of the reasons, as you know, is to keep the lip looking natural, because a very large upper lip, especially one that's age inappropriate, can be very problematic. But there's another reason about the bottom lip that I haven't really discussed as much, besides maintaining a natural look and also creating, in my idea, a very beautiful effective look to a lip, which is actually the light reflex. So, you know, we talked a lot about in the videos on fat transfer of how by taking a very flat face that has almost always, we have overhead lights that create a bounce effect of light. So in other words, if you are very flat face and I create a little dimensionality of the cheek or the brow, there's a light reflex that hits off the brow or the cheek, because we live in a world with overhead lights. I always say, except if we're in Barney's dressing room or if we're with an overcast day, if we're at the beach or if we're indoors, always overhead light. So if you think about this, which lip creates the most show? Which lip causes the most light reflex and bounce? Interestingly, it's the bottom lip. It's not the top lip. And that's why there's such a gorgeous look. When I'm looking at my before and afters, I'm trying to figure out, why are the lips looking good without much vertical show? The reason for it is the light reflex that hits the bottom lip. So if you look at some of my work, look for that. You'll see a light reflex that hits right off the center heart-shaped portion of it. That bounce of light off the bottom lip is gorgeous. You can see it from 5 to 10 feet away, and it doesn't require much vertical excess. So rethink verticality and start thinking about pout and lip dimensions and also light reflex on the bottom lip.